This white climb is by far the hardest climb that I've ever projected with a chance of potentially sending it. A long route full of crimps all the way up. None of the crimps are particularly bad, and the wall is just slightly overhanging, but not super overhanging. But there's nowhere to rest and there are no jugs whatsoever on this route. At this point, I've already trained this climb for about 10 sessions or maybe more. And so I figured out a lot of stuff. I figured out the sequences that I think are optimal for me. I figured out, given how many holds there are on the wall, which ones are worth skipping and which ones are actually worth using. And I figured out what the optimal clipping positions are based on the body positions and how good the holds are. So I've optimized a lot at this point. My clipping positions, my sequences, which holds to use and which holds to skip. And I've really dialed in my climbing as well, to the point where I feel like I'm climbing smoothly and efficiently. And yet, I still feel like this climb may just be beyond my physical limit because I keep falling about 60% of the way up for several weeks in a row now. Now, this one spot is the only place that I ever stop and chalk up in the whole climb. Other than this, it's just go, go, go. For this next section, the clipping positions are a little bit interesting. I have a couple of clips where I actually use a high foot that may seem like it puts me in a more strenuous body position, and it probably does put additional strain on biceps and larger muscle groups, but it's saving me strength in the forearms, which is definitely the limiting factor in this climb. Now, this traverse is where I always start to get quite tired, and the sequence is a bit tricky here. I've tried all sorts of variations of crossing and bumping, and then this move, no matter what I do, always seems to get me. I've fallen repeatedly on that same move the past several sessions in a row, kind of feeling like I'm getting stuck, like I'm reaching the physical limit. I just don't have enough endurance to do this climb. But then I realized something. On this next attempt, I'm working on a new skill that I've been practicing for a few days now. You see, I realized that whenever a hand is doing a move, that is, when it's not grabbing a hold because it's traveling to the next hold, it should be completely relaxed. But when I pay attention to the tension in my muscles, I realize that it's still tight, that it's still carrying tension. And so every move in this climb, there's potential for a fraction of a second of extra energy to be saved, of extra rest to be acquired. And that's what I'm practicing here. So whenever a hand moves, I'm practicing releasing all the tension from it, even if only for a quarter of a second or less. And that will add up to many seconds of extra rest for each hand throughout the climb. I think you can see now I'm not actually climbing as fast as I was before, and that's because I'm really focused on practicing this new skill, and so that takes a little bit of extra focus. And maybe it also means I don't have to climb as fast, but I definitely look more relaxed and smoother in the way that I'm climbing. So every move as I go, there's like a little bit of a micro rest. And you can practice this on a hangboard, which is how I practiced it. Just crimp with one hand really hard, and then switch your focus to the other hand. Make sure that it's fully relaxed. Go back and forth between focusing on crimping and focusing on relaxing. Another application of this skill is that when clipping, the hand that's clipping should be almost entirely resting, other than light tension in the couple of fingers grabbing the rope. And now as we get into the traverse that was causing me quite a bit of trouble before, you can see that I still have a substantial amount of energy left. After this attempt, I really felt like I'd unlocked a new skill that would give me the potential to send this climb. But I also hadn't even made it to the crux move yet, which was a couple moves later. For the next week, I practiced this skill of relaxing the hand that's not grabbing onto anything to maximize this opportunity for small rests in every single move. I came back a week later with this attempt. This is the last day that I have to send this climb. I know that this climb is about to be taken down, and I've rested very well beforehand. I've also added one more tactic. As you can see, I'm not even wearing a chalk bag here, and that's because I've decided that stopping to try to chalk up is not worth it, and it's actually taxing me more than it's giving me. So I chalked up really well with liquid chalk before, and my plan is just to go, go, go all the way to the top. At this point, I'm feeling very strong, very well rested, and climbing smoothly. Definitely the relaxation of the non-gripping hand is a skill that I feel like I'm more confident in now, and it's happening a little bit more subconsciously so I can climb a little bit faster while still using it. Now you'll see here, I'm climbing a little bit differently. For example, do a move slightly slower and just give the other hand a chance to relax. That's because I'm never stopping anywhere. And so I'll just take whatever small bits of rest I get when I'm on a hold that feels slightly better. And then when I'm on the holds that feel slightly worse, I can climb a little bit faster. Eliminating that point of me actually stopping and chalking up definitely makes the climbing feel more relaxing. I definitely think in general that people chalk up too much and it's just a habit. It's not something that they're doing because they actually need to. You would get far more rest if you just focused on resting rather than chalking up. And you can see here now, I'm up to my previous high point and I'm actually looking super comfortable. Now my right hand is the hand I need for the crux move coming up. So I shake it out just for a second. Now set up the feet, get this undercling. It's really important to get it good. And here's the crux move. Oh, and I land it. And I remember when I grabbed this, I actually felt really strong. The next move, which I thought would be super hard, went quite easily. Now in my visualization, I had planned at this point to rest here for a long time because clipping the anchor is really hard. And I will do it while grabbing with my right hand. So my plan was just to fully sacrifice my left hand. But I didn't even need it, and I just went straight up. I felt so strong, and as I'll say, I wasn't even tired. I really learned a lot from this climb. Everyone that I talked to said that this climb isn't worth projecting because it's simply a test of physical endurance. You can either do it or you can't. And it's not instructive because there's nothing interesting to learn about climbing. However, I think that my experience really showed the complete opposite. I learned two very powerful skills that will generalize to all of my future climbs. The first is the relaxation of the hand that's not grabbing onto anything. And the second is how to utilize my breathing to optimize my performance, which is another aspect that I really focused on for the final send. As for the other point, that you can either do it or you can't, because it's simply a test of physical capability, I also have learned that that is really not true. When you practice a specific sequence of moves over and over again, your body becomes so efficient at performing those specific moves that you may think something is beyond your physical capability. But if you train your body to really perform that sequence of moves optimally, you will be incredibly surprised at what your body is capable of. What's really amazing is this is a route that I thought was far beyond my physical capabilities, even in a couple of weeks before my final send. And yet, with the proper strategy, tactics, and preparation, I was able to send it. And not only that, when I finally did send it, it felt so easy. I wasn't even tired when I got to the top. I think this really shows us that we're capable of so much more than we would ever expect.
I'm not even tired!